So I agree with a fellow named Rick Hess, who's kind of a commentator on education policy, widely cited and well known, who talks about 4 roles for the federal government. And the first is what he calls encouraging transparency. And this is the idea of the disaggregated data, that we're showing subgroup scores, we're looking at graduation rates, we're looking at test scores, we're looking at attendance by different subgroups so that we can really understand what's going on. And this includes sort of requiring states to post their test scores, which didn't happen before No Child Left Behind. And so I think that's really, I agree with him, that's a really good federal role. The second thing he talks about is to protect constitutional rights of students and parents. And this is something that the federal government hasn't always done very well, but because of school desegregation, because of the Individuals with Disability Education Act, they're much better at it. And the Department's Office of Civil Rights actually enforces these things. So this is clearly a role that our kids have civil liberties, they have rights that they deserve, and school districts across the country have not always been up to that. So the federal is in there keeping that. The third thing that he thinks the government should do, which I totally agree with, is to support education research, especially kind of more basic research that we understand more about how kids learn, how teachers teach well, so that he says the commercial people will kind of evaluate their products and do this product development sort of stuff, but the government's got to keep the underlying basic research funded. And the fourth thing that he says that the government should stimulate innovation. And at one point, he was very much in favor of a race to the top for doing that. But I think that he also may feel that the race to the top and several of the other competitions were a little bit heavy-handed because they forced states in a particular way toward a number of policy issues that the administration was supporting.
And for me, the role of the federal government in public education really begins at the start of this country, where the founders of the country set out an effort to ensure that the country had a citizenry that was capable of supporting it. And that meant you need to have people educated, not elites, not people who had money, but everyone. And so for me, one of the more important roles of the federal government is to ensure that every person in this country has an opportunity to have a decent education.
The federal government's role has been quite limited in our country. Basically 6 cents on every dollar comes from the federal government to support public schools. Historically, if there was a Republican administration, the administration would provide block grants that would wouldn't really target resources. It would just say, here's a block grant, take care of your poor kids, take care of your bilingual kids, and take care of your kids with special needs. Do it however you want. Democratic administrations got more targeted and tried to tailor their investments in a little bit more prescriptive ways. What marked the shift was really No Child Left Behind. No Child Left Behind was still concerned about equity in the sense that it was trying to elevate the academic achievement rates, particularly of poor kids and kids of color. However, the federal government became a lot more prescriptive in terms of how.